May break arrived, a welcome escape from looming midterms. Our group, Ethan, Jake, Liam, Chloe, and Ashley, had planned this cabin getaway for ages. My parents' cabin, specifically. Dad had sternly warned me, threatening consequences if anything went wrong. Mom, unaware of our plan, was out of the loop. I grabbed the keys, hoping he wouldn't change his mind. Early that morning, I left for the train station, lying to Mom about a friend's cabin. Most met me there. Only Jake drove his own car, laden with food and drinks. An hour on a packed train wasn't ideal, but we made it. Chloe suggested a convenience store stop, but Jake insisted he had everything. A quick call confirmed it. He arrived in his old Jetta within minutes, and we headed to the cabin. The girls began tidying, while the guys marinated meat. Half an hour later, setting the table, we realized a critical oversight. No bread, and the table was bare besides meat and veggies. Jake's everything was severely lacking, especially drinks. Annoyed, "Damn it. I knew we should have gone to the store," I muttered. A grocery run was necessary. Jake, having already had wine, couldn't drive, so Liam and I walked. The store was close, but closed. My mood soured. "Son of a," I cursed. Another store was over an hour's walk away. I decided to try starting the old moped. We aimed for a nearby village, hoping stores there would be open. The moped sputtered to life, and we set off. The ride was smooth initially, but the moped soon stalled. Jake, after silently inspecting the dashboard, unscrewed the gas cap and, staring through me, asked, "Did you really think it would go without gas?" My idiocy was glaring. The nearest gas station was far. Asking for gas in the village was our best bet. We walked, chatting, until a pickup truck blocked our path. A friendly-looking man, about 60, emerged. "Evening, boys. Need some help?" he asked. I explained our gas predicament. He had no hose, but offered a ride to the gas station if we loaded the moped. Jake mentioned we needed to reach the village, but he refused, citing a hurry. I agreed to the gas station. After loading the moped, we hopped in. "So, young men, where were you headed?" the driver inquired. Jake explained we were at a cabin and forgot drinks. He introduced himself as Nicholas. I reciprocated. Polite. "I'm Ethan, and this is Jake. Nice to meet you." Nicholas then made a call, briefly saying, "Casual. All right, see ya." A few minutes of silence passed. Then, an oncoming car flashed its hazards, and our truck stopped. Nicholas said, reassuring, "I'm just gonna hop out for a second. My buddy's here. We'll have a smoke, and then we'll keep going, okay?" I agreed. He took the keys and locked the doors, a confusing move. Jake was on his phone, and I gazed out, until a chilling phrase cut through the quiet. Loud, triumphant. "See? Told you I could do it. Look at these fresh beauties I brought you. Eagles." The voice was loud, urgent. "Jake, Jake," I whispered, nudging him. "You hear that?" He hadn't, concerned. "That Nicholas guy said he brought us to someone." Shocked. "What the hell?" Jake managed before the two men moved. They began circling the truck from opposite sides. I frantically searched the interior for a weapon. Jake shook his head. My door flew open. I kicked Nicholas hard in the shoulder, sending him sprawling, and ran without looking back. A fatal error. A blow to the back of my head sent me down, and everything went black. Distant voices and the smell of damp earth woke me. My face was covered. I opened my eyes, disoriented. "Doesn't matter. Now eat, then you'll go to work." I demanded answers. The man said, "Consider yourself dead. Got it?" When I shook my head, he punched me. "All right, if you're so dense, shut up and listen closely. You and your buddy are gonna work here. Every day. You'll work as long as we need you to. Go to hell. I'm not working for you, you hear me? I braced for another blow, but dodged. His punch hit the wall. He yelled, and I bolted through an open door, into a hallway, only to find two hulking men blocking my path. Realizing resistance was futile, I raised my hands. One asked what was going on. The other, looking me in the eye, said, "Kid got a little mixed up, right?" "Yeah, mixed up," I agreed. He paternally patted my shoulder, then abruptly punched me in the gut. "Now we'll take you to your workstation, and then we'll show you what happens to those who get mixed up." I was led into a room like a prisoner. The smell was horrifying. Rot. Visually, it was worse. Feathers, hair, fluff, and an abundance of brown stains, especially on the central table. It looked like a huge brown blob. "All right, sit down. You're going to, shall we say, study a visual aid," my guard said, smirking. They brought Jake in, led by the same guy who'd punched me. "This one?" "No, I brought him to work." "Ah, well, let him sit too and see. He'll draw his own conclusions." Jake sat beside me. I scanned the room for escape routes. Suddenly, shouts echoed from the corridor. "No, please, don't do it again!" Seconds later, a kid, about 18, was shoved at our feet. The ensuing horror still makes me shudder. They forced him onto a chair, one brute holding him down, the other tying his hands and feet. "Well, did you manage it?" one hulk asked the kid, smirking. He frantically shook his head. "But you know what happens to those who don't manage?" "No, please, I won't do it again," he pleaded. But they mocked him about his lack of family and their generosity in bringing him there. "I'd forgive you, but traitors aren't forgiven, right, Greg?" he asked the second guard. "Uh-huh, definitely not," Greg replied. "All right then, let's get to it. Otherwise, the new guys won't know what awaits them if they try to escape." Tears streamed down the prisoner's face. He convulsed, struggling against the ropes. I hadn't noticed one of them brought a suitcase. When it opened, I felt sick. A soldering iron, nails, a hammer, pliers, wire cutters, pruning shears, tools for torture, not repairs. The soldering lamp was plugged in. Greg picked up a hammer and a long nail, smirking. "All right, let's begin?" the other guard asked the kid with a radiant smile. The kid shook his head, but his opinion didn't matter. They hammered a nail into his right foot, then his left, coldly. "That's so you don't run away," they explained. Screams of pain and despair filled the room. I closed my eyes, only to receive a punch to the face, menacingly. "We're showing you this, actually, look!" The atrocity was indescribable. These were monsters. They burned him with the soldering lamp, broke his fingers with pliers, and carved symbols into his body, laughing. He lost consciousness multiple times, but they revived him. He moaned, cried, and begged for death. Coldly, "All right, that's enough laughing. So, should we hang him?" Sinister. "I have a better idea," Greg replied, taking 2 more nails. He aimed for the boy's eyes. The kid dodged frantically. Impatiently, "Alex, go hold him. Can't you see he's struggling?" One held his head. The other, with full force, hammered a nail directly into his eye. The kid convulsed and screamed. The second nail was driven in with the hammer. He writhed, then went still. I had never seen such horror. I lost consciousness. Stinging blows to my face woke me. "Well, you little softy, do you like it?" Desperate. Who could possibly like this? Menacing. No one. But don't worry. You'll behave yourself and everything will be wonderful for you. He warned us the corpse would remain as a deterrent. Casual. And we'll feed you now. You haven't eaten yet. Come on, Greg. Let's go. They left, defeated. Do you think we'll be in his place soon? Jake asked, cradling his head. Resigned. No. We'll sit here until we die of tetanus or something, I replied. Then, whispering, You're panicking too early. I think there's always a way out. Yeah, feet first. Are you really that blind? Don't you see how this ends? The door burst open. A guard placed 2 metal bowls of unappetizing contents and 2 mugs of tea before us. Coldly, Eat, then you'll work, he said, leaving. It looked like porridge with meat. As Jake tried to eat, I scanned the room. No cameras, that was good. I tried to eat, only to find a human fingernail in my spoon. My bowl clattered to the floor, unheard. 20 minutes later, Alex returned, asking if we'd eaten. We nodded, pleased. Excellent. Probing. Have you ever gutted anything? Jake confidently said yes. I shook my head. Authoritative. Your friend will show you how it's done. You boys will now help us. We'll bring you dead animals, and not just animals. You'll strip them of their skin, feathers, and gut them. Sternly. Understand? Disbelieving. What do you mean, not just animals? Chillingly. Like your former colleague sitting there, for example. He's useless now, but at least he can feed you, and it's cheaper for us and useful for you. His words sent shivers through me. Soon, a basin of duck carcasses appeared. Jake showed me how to clean and gut them. I fought vomit, constantly glancing at the poor bastard's corpse. Jake remained stoic, but my hands shook, and I felt nauseous. Feathers, guts, blood, the stench, and the earlier murder had taken their toll. Exhausted, arms aching, mind muddled, I finished the last duck. Relieved. We're done, Jake shouted, callously. All right, Alex said, dragging the corpse toward us. This'll be a bit harder, but you two can handle it. Remove the skin, put the organs separately, the meat separately, and the bones in that bowl over there. Horrified, muttering, No, 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 I won't do that. The overseer said, holding a knife to my throat. You, as they say, have no choice. I complied. I won't recount the rest. About a week passed. I knew every corner of this place. Bathroom, kitchen, corridors, sleeping quarters. The only forbidden room was the office, where the 3 or 4 guards held meetings. Escape seemed both easy, with only one exit, and impossible due to fear. The tortured kid's death haunted me. I also couldn't guess what lay beyond the door. An ordinary street, a field, or something even more dangerous. We had no tools. Even our shoelaces were removed. One morning, waking early, I pondered escape. A weapon would make it easier. Facing 3 strong men bare-handed was senseless. Suddenly, our door burst open, and a loud voice announced, "Wake-up time." While Jake stirred, I went to the bathroom. Turning on the cold water, I picked up the soap, which slipped from my hand. It fell under the tub, and beside it, I saw something else. I reached in and felt a weighty stone. I had no idea how it got there, but it was a stroke of luck, a crucial aid. I hit it with difficulty, suppressing a smile. I walked out. How long does it take? Jake grumbled. Good morning to you too, I said, flinching at his fierce glare. I didn't tell him about the stone immediately, waiting until the next workday. Jake, did you come up with anything? I quietly asked. No, he replied. I did. A spark lit his eyes. He looked at me, and I whispered my plan. Jake immediately agreed. All that was left was to wait. We didn't wait long. An hour later, Alex came in.
So how's the work going? Everything all right?
Can I step away for about 5 minutes? I asked. He agreed. A huge mistake, turning his back to me. I assessed the situation and struck him with all my might with the stone on his head. He instantly lost consciousness, eliminating unnecessary screams. Jake quietly rose from his chair and we tiptoed into the corridor. Strange sounds came from the office. They were likely watching TV. We needed to lure them out. Quietly reaching the exit was a gamble. The door was probably locked and no visible key. What are we going to do? I asked Jake. Let's go to the kitchen. In the kitchen, he swiftly smashed something, creating a loud clatter. Hey! What are you guys doing in there? Came from the office, followed by footsteps. The overseers appeared in the kitchen doorway. As I saw them, I immediately thrust 2 fingers into one's eye. He screamed, grabbing his face. The second stared. Jake, without hesitation, tackled him. Greg, being much bigger and taller, was unevenly matched. Before he could overpower Jake, I hit him in the head with the stone again, and he blacked out. Jake and I bolted for the door. But something was wrong. "Did you get the key?" he yelled. "No, I thought you got it." There was little time. 2 were out, but 1 was still conscious. "Wait for me here," Jake said, running deeper into the corridor. I was confused, needing to find the key. While I stood there, the guard I had poked in the eyes recovered and headed my way. The image of the tortured kid flashed in my mind. Jake ran up to him and held a knife to his throat. "Tell us where the front door key is." "Guys, what are you doing?" Jake pressed the knife harder. The guard silently handed over a magnetic key card. Unlike Alex, Jake didn't turn his back. He kept his eyes on the guard. I grabbed the card and instantly opened the door. We ran outside, not looking back. The sun blinded us for moments, but we kept going, stumbling then picking up pace. The door slammed shut behind us. We turned to see one of the guards. That was enough to make us run faster. He pursued us, relentlessly. He was in excellent shape. We lost him in the forest when the clumsy oaf tripped over a tree root. We seized the chance and ran even harder. We were lucky. We escaped our pursuer and found people, stumbling upon a village. We didn't tell the locals what happened, fearing they might know or help our captors. So we lied, claiming we were lost in the woods. Good people directed us to the local police station. We went immediately. There, the investigation began. We were the first to escape those monsters. Their workshop was in the basement of an abandoned building, haphazardly powered. The group consisted of 3 drivers, who transported animal carcasses and captives, 4 guards, and a main leader handling finances and sales. I was horrified to learn of a small cemetery next to the workshop. Those monsters buried their slaves right there. 12 people, or what was left of them, were interred. No one else had ever left that place alive. One detainee confessed. Our main mistake was taking 2 of them this time. If it had been just 1, he wouldn't have had a chance to escape. Now, those inhumane creatures are in prison. I take pills daily and see a psychologist, but it could have been worse. I still remember the screams of that kid who couldn't escape.